Unicorn Overlord is turning out to be a huge game with a lot of depth, and now more than 30 hours in, I'm ready to share a few more tips and strategies I've picked up along the way. Also, I love hearing from you guys and your strategies as well, so leave your thoughts in the comments as I'm sure many of you have some great ideas to share also. First up, let's talk about items. Specifically, I want to mention how absolutely powerful and game-changing some relatively inexpensive but somewhat rare consumables can be. The first of these, Light Feather, and its bigger cousin, the Light Tail Feather, are introduced in the deserts of Drakkenhold, and they increase the speed of your units. The Light Feather, the speed of one unit, and the Tail Feather, the speed of all units in range. What makes these so powerful is how they can allow a normally slow unit to rapidly advance to cover another unit ill-equipped to engage an oncoming enemy, or even be used to just quickly cover ground and take out enemy positions like watchtowers or artillery. While Griffin Knights can give this speed boost too as a Valor skill, they may not always be deployed or nearby or have the Valor points to spend when you really need that speed boost, meaning it can be really handy to have a feather or 2 or 20 in your pocket. The next item is the Wind Fairy's Charm. This item makes your units immune to assist effects from enemies. I've found many times that this item was the difference between my unit being wiped out, or the enemy unit being wiped out, or at least taking major damage that it wouldn't have otherwise. Assists can be very powerful, which we'll cover in just a bit, especially when stacked. So the ability to completely negate these can be a great defensive tool, and while there is a unit that can provide assist protection through a Valor skill, just like the Griffin Knights, they won't always be where you need them to be, so if you aren't using Wind Fairy Charms, I highly recommend that you start. Finally, the Giant's Canopy is perhaps the rarest of these items, but perhaps the most powerful depending on the map you're battling on. The Giant's Canopy protects you from all non-combat damage in a stage for 10 seconds. This includes not only environmental hazards, but also damage from ballistae, catapults, and even enemy Valor skills. So the next time you're charging down a ballista, remember to use one of these to prevent the massive damage they can inflict. The Light Feathers and the Wind Fairy Charms can be purchased in the larger cities for 1000G and 2000G respectively. However, I haven't seen the Giant's Canopies for sale in any of the cities, making them much rarer, as I mentioned.
This should be it.
Assists can be powerful boons to your units in combat, allowing for arrow or magical bombardment or healing of your unit at the end of combat. To get these though, you must have units that are led by an assist-capable leader, such as an archer, mage, or healer. With enough support from assisting units, you can win engagements that you really shouldn't win with the unit that you're using. That said, pay attention to the battle preview when activating and deactivating assists. In some cases, because of the way your or your enemy's tactics are set up, using an assist can actually cause you to lose a battle or take more damage than you would without it. Even something as subtle as using a magic assist versus an arrow assist can be a huge difference. Strange, I know, but make sure you pay attention to this so that you don't waste the stamina of your assisting units and cause your combat unit to take extra unnecessary damage.
Here I am.
What do you need?
While we're on the subject of assists, let's not forget about Valor skills. These are the skills that each character with any unit can use to damage enemy units on the map, heal, buff, or protect friendly units, or affect the environment in some way. Early in the game, I found myself rarely ever using or needing Valor skills, but as I got into the mid-game and the maps got bigger, I found that the Valor skills became an invaluable part of my strategy. Skills such as Vitalize can restore stamina to your units, while others can be used to eliminate whole enemy units in some cases without even directly engaging them. For instance, did you know that using Arrow Rain on flying units does bonus damage and can sometimes outright kill a full health unit? Still, other Valor skills can increase our mobility or reduce that of the enemy. Each Valor skill has its time and place, and the careful application of them can turn a losing fight into a winning one very quickly. Did you know that moving units through the trees actually hides them from the enemy? The game kinda teaches you this by having enemy units do it to you, which is what gave me the idea to try it, and yeah, it works. Now, if you get too close to an enemy unit, of course they'll see you, but this can be a great way to flank or bypass enemy positions, allowing you to strike at watchtowers or other fixed positions.
Heading there now.
Where should I go next?
Speaking of fixed positions, did you know that units with 0 stamina can still fight and hold down a position? They won't even suffer first strikes against them, as that only occurs when you actually have them rest. So as long as you don't give the rest command, your unit can continue to fight as normal. Only their ability to move is taken away. So for instance, if they are blocking off enemy reinforcements and are able to handle the units heading their way, just leave them there and don't worry about restoring their stamina or having them rest until you need them to move. This fact also means that you can be aggressive when pushing towards campfires on the map, as if your units run out of stamina, they can just hold out until you get all your units around the camp. Then once they are all there, you can activate the camp and get everyone's stamina restored. Another great tactic to use is to flank with your flyers. Many maps you'll come across will feature enemy towers blocked off by terrain or other enemy units, preventing you from using your fast movers like cavalry to take these towers out, thus forcing you to fight a crap battle with several enemy assists. One way around this, though, that nearly always works is to have your flying units flank these towers. Just make sure that these units have a fighter or hoplite or their advanced versions in the front line to shield your flying character. If you're concerned about enemy valor skills like arrow rain, either make sure you have healing items on hand to heal the damage, or use a giant's canopy or concealing cloak to prevent that damage completely. Using your flyers to flank like this will make battles much easier, allowing your cavalry and infantry to move in and mop up once the enemy towers are down.
Do you need something?
Eventually we'll get to a point in the game where we have more characters than we have room in our units. So what do we do to make sure that these characters, or even the ones in units that maybe we don't use as much, stay leveled high enough to keep up with the enemies we face? Well, one really easy way for a unit to gain experience without even fighting is to have them man a ballista. Each unit they kill while using a ballista counts as if they actually fought it. I've seen my characters on a ballista gain several levels very quickly, particularly on maps where enemy units continually spawn and walk right into the line of fire. Another great way, though slower, would be to use the auxiliary or ghost battles, as I like to call them. These are repeatable battles that can be found in various places around the world map, and each one is at a different recommended level. So for anyone in your army that's a bit behind, you could use these battles to get them up to speed. You could also just intersperse these lower experienced characters into units with higher level characters, allowing them to gain experience while covered by the higher level characters, though this could very well affect the strength of these units. Finally, don't forget to use all those military treaties that you've been picking up. These items will give a character a set amount of experience, but if your character is under a certain level threshold, this experience can get a multiplier, making this one last limited way to increase your character's levels. The strength of our units relies not only on their composition, but also on how often they can act. Having more action points and passive points than your enemy results in your unit taking more actions, and as we know, in turn-based situations, the more turns you get, the better off you are. One way to make sure we get more turns for our units is to equip characters with a Lapis Pendant for more passive points and the Carnelian Pendant for more active points. Paired with the right classes, these pendants can massively improve the power and damage a class can do. Early on, these can be hard to come by, but as you get farther into the game, you'll be able to find these or gain them as rewards. You can also buy them from the black market vendor once you unlock him, though they are a bit expensive for obvious reasons. If you're short on money or honor, don't forget that you can go back to towns you've liberated and give them deliveries for money and honor. If you've been diligent in collecting all the resources in each region and then placing a guard in each town, you should have an abundance of resources to spend at each town to gain more money and honors. It should also be noted that unless you're hiring mercs, you'll eventually have more towns than you have guards, so it can be beneficial to take away some guards from earlier parts of the game to place in later towns, as towns farther into the game seem to give better rewards. You'll need the guards in this later region, say Elheim, because many of the resources required for towns in Elheim are only found in Elheim. Once you're able to promote characters, I'd really double down on promoting all the characters you use at least as quickly as possible. The game will start to throw promoted enemies at you soon if it hasn't already by that point, and promoted units get more action and passive points, meaning your units could become severely underpowered very quickly. On the flip side, if you do promote your units quickly, you'll have the advantage of more action points and more powerful abilities that will make your life a lot easier in the coming battles. As far as I can tell, there is no penalty for promoting units under a certain level, but if anyone has more info on this, Please let me know in the comments. Next up is more Unicorn Overlord with this video. Thank you so much for watching, have a great day, and keep on gaming.